Bae and CZN Burak are both from Turkey, and today we are going to show you some of the best Turkish dishes made by them. Let's get started. Kebab. Most fast food connoisseurs will know kebab in its most basic form. Döner, meaning turning, is the open-faced sandwich stuffed with greens and thinly shaped slices from a massive vertical rotating skewer of meat, from which it takes its name. However, those more familiar with Turkish cuisine will recognize kebab as a sprawling family tree of all kinds of skewered meats, seasoned and served with different accompaniments. Some of the most famous types of kebab are identified by their city or regions of provenance, such as the spicy Adana kebab or the milder Urfa kebab. These are both from the southeast of Turkey. A particularly famous form of kebab is known as the Iskender kebab. It is prepared over a bed of pita bread and drenched slices of meat and tomato juice and served with heaps of yogurt. Lahmacun. Occasionally translated on restaurant menus as Turkish pizza, actually has more in common with a savory pie rolled out flat. Essentially a flatbread topped with any variety of minced meat and seasoning. Lahmacun is always served freshly baked and often consumed in 2s or 3s as a meal on its own. Onions and cilantro add a bit of zing to the heavenly sensation of freshly baked flatbread, seasoned with minced lamb or beef. More creative varieties are spiced with the addition of ground nuts or sour pomegranate syrup. A cousin of the lahmacun, the pita actually resembles pizza much more than the former. Essentially a boat of thick dough inundated with cheese, vegetables, and all kinds of meat. The pita is like the pizza's older, stockier brother hailing from Turkey's Black Sea region. Burak. Covering a wide range of phyllo dough-based pastries, both sweet and savory, the geographic distribution of Burak is a sign of the expansive culinary culture propagated by the Ottoman Empire. Burak comes in all shapes and sizes. Some are named after cigars, while others bear the namesake of roses or arms, reflecting the pastry's shape and its folded patterns. While many Burak come in individual portions and are served and eaten like other pastry, there are also whole restaurants dedicated to a different kind of Burak. These are prepared in massive trays and sliced up masterfully at the counter for customers who come to buy the treat. Try the savory options stuffed with anything from meat to cheese and spinach, or a slice of the sweet variety of Burak sprinkled with powdered sugar for an enticing breakfast or afternoon snack. Kahvaltı, Turkish breakfast. If you're used to a grab-and-go kind of breakfast, kahvaltı will take you by surprise. Kahvaltı is not just a dish, it is an experience to savor. Let's start with the Instagram-ready presentation of a pot of tea, little plate of olives, cheeses, delicately cooked eggs, tomatoes and cucumbers, cream and honey, an assortment of jams, yogurt, and fragrant freshly baked bread. The culmination is a wonderful cup of local coffee. Kahvaltı is a meal of grandeur, but what's even grander than the breakfast spread is the tradition of family gathering enclosed in the experience. When in Istanbul, strike a conversation with the locals and invite them to a traditional breakfast. Menemen. If you belong to the type of people who can't fathom other people's fascination with eggs, Turkish omelet or menemen will definitely help you understand. In this dish, the eggs are lightly scrambled in creamy butter with onion, tomatoes, and green pepper. The tomatoes are cooked through to impart a saucy zing to the omelet. As with most Western restaurants, menemen is usually served with a side of meat. In Istanbul, the common accompaniment is sukuk, a kind of a beef sausage that is both spicy and succulent. An accompaniment is not necessary, but more yummy food is always better. Besides, breakfast in Istanbul always means a feast. Künefe. Künefe is an ancient dessert with a history that goes as far back as the 10th century. A sampling of künefe is mandatory when you're in Istanbul. Not only because of its role in Turkey's culinary history, but because it's really good. Künefe is warm, crispy, sweet, cheesy, syrupy, doughy, and a little savory, from the crumbled pistachio nuts sprinkled on top. It is best consumed right out of the oven when the kadayif cheese is still hot and stringy. This delightful Turkish dessert resembles a cheese tart, but instead of a pastry base, it has shredded dough protecting the gooey cheese inside. It is the perfect sweet ending to a spicy kebab meal. Baklava. Baklava is Turkey's most popular dessert, bearing historical significance which goes as far back as the 8th century. Several countries claim to be the birthplace of this sweet dessert, but no historical account seems reliable enough to be taken as fact. One well-embraced fact, however, is that baklava is a definite must whenever in Istanbul. It is believed that in the ancient times, baklava was fit only for royalty due to its richness and complexity. Fortunately, in the 21st century, baklava can be found in every corner of Istanbul, even outside of Middle East. It is layers upon layers of flaky phyllo dough bound by rosewater syrup or honey, and filled with ground nuts in the middle. Durum. Durum is common Istanbul fare. It is one way of preparing kebab in which the grilled meat is wrapped in a flatbread called lavash. Lavash is excellent for durums as it is sturdy enough to hold in the meat, veggies, and sauce, but not too thick that it becomes a bready experience. Lavash is light, chewy, and is the perfect complement to the flavorful grilled meat. Durum is considered a complete meal in itself as it has bread, meat, and vegetables. The sauce, usually yogurt-based, perfectly binds the whole components into one delectable experience. Some durumcus amp the experience by grilling the durum before serving it. This gives it an extra crisp and a layer of charred smoky flavor. Kofta. Kofta, just like pretty much any food in Istanbul, is a big deal in the city. So much so that it is almost as sacred as religion. You'll find restaurants claiming to have the best kofta in town, and you can't find it in you to disagree because it's practically impossible to find Turkish meatballs in Istanbul that you wouldn't end up loving. Historically made with scrap meat, onions, and spices, kofta was invented as a means of stretching a Turkish family's food budget. Nowadays, choices for meat are beef, lamb, pork, and chicken. These are then grilled atop hot coals which render a deep smoky flavor that make it distinctly Turkish in nature. Manti. Manti are traditional Turkish dumplings filled with spiced ground meat and onions. The dumplings are most commonly topped with a sauce consisting of yogurt and garlic. The name of the dish is derived from mantu, meaning dumplings, and they were originally brought over from Central Asia to Turkey by nomadic Turkish tribes in the 13th century. Today, manti dumplings are popular throughout Turkey, as well as in numerous other cuisines such as Armenian, Afghan, and Central Asian. Dolma. Dolma simply means stuffed, but there are limited possibilities when it comes to stuffing, a common technique in Anatolian cuisine. Dolma often uses a rice-based mixture of spices, pine nuts, and even small dried fruits to stuff vegetables such as flavorful peppers or courgettes. The streets of coastal towns and downtown Istanbul, however, feature a different kind of dolma. Midye dolma, or stuffed mussels, are a delicacy relished by night owls. Midye dolma come packed in their shells and arranged on large circular platters, equipped with fresh lemons to squeeze onto the salty sea dwellers. A Turkish street food staple. So there you have it, some of the best Turkish dishes in the world. Let us know in the comments which dish you want to taste. This has been The Art of Food. We hope you've worked up an appetite. Bye-bye for now. See you next time.